What's going on, everybody? I have a dog on my shoulders, but I'm DJ McCree, and today I just wanted to do a quick video, and it was basically based upon a tweet on Twitter, from a guy that actually always supports my channel. He does a lot of stuff, promotional wise that nobody has to do. A lot of you guys do, but he goes really extra hard in the paint. So, I just want to go hard for him, so I got FL Studio fired up, and, I'm going to mix the track for him and, just explain some things. Cause I know a lot of people actually have a lot of questions, but his question was, and I'm just reading, he said, "Hey, DJ McCree, I'm having trouble mixing my beat. The melody just sounds all effed up, and I tried compressors and all, nothing seems to work. Please help. I can email you the FLP," which, this is just short text. So, but anyways, he basically just talking or whatnot. And, I guess I could help him with the concept. So I had the beat pulled up. So I'm just going to go ahead and get to that real quick. Let my dog adjust himself. So, here's the track. We're going to, just do a normal playthrough, and then we're going to get a gist of it so far. So, coming in hot, 3, 2, 1, you know what it is. And let me actually get here because I mess up. 3, 2, 1. So the track actually rides. I mean, I don't see the problem there. So let's go ahead. This is one thing that you could do that I usually do when I just decipher from a mix. I actually look at the stuff and how it's laid out or whatever. So I mean, off top, your melody doesn't seem too loud or whatever. What is in? Okay, so, all right, it's only one thing. Let's see. So that's on track 20. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over. And this is one of the main reasons why FL Studio 12 is better than any other FL Studio version of FL Studio that you might have on your system, because you could do this, and all I'm doing is Alt. You select your specific insert channel that you want to move, and you just press and hold Alt, and then you just use your arrow keys and move it in the direction you want. So I'm moving it right over here because it has no purpose or serves no purpose over there. If I want to move it and just organize your actual, I'm gonna put that bass right here. So with that being said, I'm going right there. One of the main things that I can say that actually would help within a mix so far is headroom. Now, what is headroom? I know that sounds like something, it is one of those musical terms that's lightly thrown out there. Some people may or may not know. So let me just give you a quick explanation. Now, All right, you moving into an apartment. The apartment is empty, and you can move all the way around it. You can walk around, and you can do backflips, well, whatever. You're just you're in your basic, I guess, 1,200 square feet apartment. But with no furniture. Now, as soon as you start moving in furniture, you have less room to do all those acrobatic things. Wow, I tell you, acrobatic things that you could do when your apartment was empty. So what you got to do, obviously, if you just got your furniture just thrown around, is organize it. So you're organizing your furniture. So how does that relate to music? So you're the first things first, you want to move this down. Moving it down to about -6 dB, this master volume right here will give what you call headroom. And obviously you have turned that down. Do not turn this down at all. Just leave that neutral. Just leave it sonically neutral as 0, 0. Just leave it like that. Now we're going to go into your master. Your master, you had the Fruity limiter. The Fruity limiter automatically loads, just by default if you don't mess with any of this stuff over here. So, which is your templates. I don't mess with none of those. I'm fine with the Fruity limiter just being there, whatever, because of its natural nice little boost that it gives to a track until I'm ready for the effects cabinet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of this so far, and set that to default. And now we got a good old regular mixer again. And then we're just gonna play the track again. Now, for all purposes, it's gonna be very low, but you have room for all of your frequencies to move around. Now, the thing that you can do to lift this melody, because I'm fine with it the way it is, because everything's not peaking or whatnot. But as you can see, if you observe the oscilloscope over here, that it is a massively low. Now that's fine, because what we're gonna do is this right here in the master volume right here. For all purposes, I'm not gonna do what I usually do, because if I do what I do with my plugins, my set of plugins that I have, it'll be much easier and it wouldn't be displaying anything. But I'm just gonna go ahead and pull up Maximus. Now I teach a whole bunch of classes on this or whatever. I do it in my playlist. I have many explanations of how to use Maximus, but for the love of me, even though the videos are popular, most people don't understand, and it's only fair because I've been mixing for a long time, so this is a concept that probably will go over everybody's head. But for simple purposes, I'm in the master of Maximus. I just pulled it up, yay Maximus, and I'm just gonna go and play that. It's not gonna do anything. It's not doing anything right now. It's just showing you the maximum potential of where your melody is hitting right now. Now, this is what you can do right here, just as a quick fix to your loudness. Because now that the actual knee, the threshold bar is set, you can just push your pre up. Now, if you make an observation right here, you see that everything is louder now. So basically, the pre was representing you moving and organizing your furniture. Now you can go a little further than that, because for all intents and purposes, your bass isn't punchy. But we can fix that, and this is how you will fix it right here. You would go into your lower rack, your low frequency band, not low rack. Boy, And then now we could just go and, fix a couple of things. We're not gonna worry about attack and look ahead time to see where, well, that's a different type of ahead. But we are going to just play because we don't really want your kick to be compressed. So also a cool trick is that you can actually solo your low, mids, and highs and actually hear everything separate. So we're going to actually go and highlight something real quick. We're going to highlight when the beat kicks in so we can actually get that in there. So this is actually pretty cool. And we're going to make judgment calls off of that. By the way, what I did was called upwards compression, where we're moving the volume, making something of low volume go up to be compressed, to be loud. And there's a few things that we can make minor adjustments on. Obviously, we don't want the pre to rise above the knee because it's actually getting brick walled. Now, Purity, which is the Hood Classic or whatever, is a grand plugin, nonetheless. However, like much older plugins, they actually have little issues with volume. Let me do that. I'm just gonna push the volume. I'm just gonna gun the volume because I wanted to be able to turn it down and make judgment calls based upon that. Hopefully I don't mess up anything in your beat. Purity. If I'm not mistaken, I think the company is a Japanese company that made this. And some of the sound designers were behind the Roland JV 1080, because a lot of the sounds are very common. I could be wrong. I can't really remember the history. So, but all right. Now you was cooking this right here. Now I know compressors. When you use compressors in the FL Studio, one of my old school tricks was to use the compressor to move the volume up. So that actually reminded me of me. And then you have Maximus and that. So for all this purposes, you kind of just want to not do that. You don't have to do that. Or, since I just made myself look like a buffoon, we're gonna use this compressor. It is right here, I believe. It's just a regular compressor, fruity compressor. And I should be vintage, which is like, will drive the heck out of it. It says vintage driver. What it is kind of overdriving the signal. Oh, I'm an idiot. Wow, I'm such a genius. It would work if I put it in bypass. We'll take it out of bypass. So, fail fish number 2, I believe, or 3. I lost count. So right now I'm just checking to hear the overall loudness of this. I'm gonna move the volume up just slightly, because that right there is actually fine. I'm good with that. I'll reset, put it to 0. Then check the snare. In my opinion, the snare's not loud enough. So, but now it's a little louder now. Let's see what's going on with the rat kick one. So I just moved down the rat kick one because now I'm making my judgment calls off the oscilloscope and seeing that the kick is massively loud, you know, and that could all but, you know, overtake the beat. Then I'm gonna make sure that you cut it, because you need to cut itself, because cutting itself won't make any of the other harmonic signals clash. So yeah, so make sure that you do this, what I'm doing right now, and this alone will actually fix it, because I figured that I heard something of that order. So it sounds a little better. Now, another thing that you did, and you know, for all purposes, I don't know why, but you kind of mess with this. You don't really have to do that. You don't really have to mess with this EQ. This EQ best used like this, resonance peak, and moving this is sweeping this particular signal. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna reset it, and I want you to hear what I hear. See that? And when I'm sweeping it, I'm actually listening to the how if it sounds good or bad in what particular part of the frequency. See, it's overtaking that part because the most predominant frequencies are the mids and lows right now, because that's what the kick represents, and the snare. So it'd be best put over here. I'm gonna actually make that a little tighter. Now, I'm going to look at your 808, and we're going to hear it. I really don't have a problem with the 808 right now. I'm gonna move this over, and then I'm gonna turn this up. Sweep it. Turn out it. Might even do this. So that. Now, I'm not necessarily a fan of like panning, just because when it plays on like PA systems and stuff like that, and you know, some certain PA systems don't really have great stereo, I can't think of the name, but stereo spectrums or whatever. So sometimes panning kind of can suck in those type of settings where mono is more of the thing. But you know, it is what it is. Now, this snare, I like it. I like it. I'm gonna work with it a little bit more because even though it's a quintessential snare of us trap people, it needs a bit of EQing because it sounds a little flat. Yes, I could do it in here, but I'm just gonna use this band. There's actually a good preset that's in here, and I am trying to find it. And it's called Snare Enhance. Oh, there it goes. Can't see it, but here it goes. So, you know, going from there, I'm just gonna go back and look at the master because you know you want to kind of just monitor your master bus, and I'm gonna move it down. And you know what else I will add? Of course, I am going to add a dB meter because it helps to see that. A matter of personal opinion, though, I'm not gonna do it. A Vox wouldn't hurt, like something, you know, because the beat is fire. No, nonetheless, I really do like this beat. So, you know. What I just did right here is I am messing with the 3 different shelves. So this is the this is the low shelf, this is the mid shelf, and this is the high shelf. So we're gonna actually look at the spectrum real quick. I'm gonna activate it, and we're gonna look at it and see where the most dominant version or the dominant frequencies are at. See, all the lows are right here, like the dominant lows, and you for all purposes you could actually, you know, add a little bit more softness to it, and you can actually hear it beat harder by doing this, if that is what you really want out of your beat. So I'm gonna save the track here, and now we can hear the other dominant areas. As you can see, these are all where all the highs are. You can turn that in a little bit more. Move it over. All right, here's the tricky part, because I don't know if you have a VU meter or not on your audio interface. But you know, it's a little distorted. So what you could do, you know, sometimes you have to use your ears when you're in situations like that, even if you do have visuals. But you know, we're gonna look at this part. Now the mix is more subtle. You know, we're gonna take an observation at the oscilloscope and see how it looks. I'm gonna take out certain instruments so that you can see certain things. Take out that 808 so you can see how the kick and snare are in unison. Last but not least, when working with Maximus, there's a few things you could do to make your sound bigger. And this is something that is very, 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 very important. Hopefully, everybody has made it this far. So your low frequencies actually work so much better if you see my mid to side video, you know that, you know, the whole purpose of mid to side is, you know, kind of centering all the more prominent frequencies, and then the least dominant or the least like frequencies will be on the side, you know, and kind of giving it a louder feel. I mean, you can actually do, even though there's a mid mode in here, it's not like it's not as solid as mid to side, but there's really no need for that when you're using Maximus, because you have this. And what I just did here was mess with this. And you know, if you put this is stereo and this is mono. Now, putting all your low frequencies in mono will cause less phase distortion and phase canceling, which is that weird muddy like sound with your 808s, and actually could give you a lot more room in your apartment, or, you know, in your frequency spectrum, to, you know, be more aggressive with your mix. And then you right here in the mid area, you know, you could just do just a little bit of that, you know, and if you want to, just kind of do that with your highs as well, just tad, and then just go back, go to your master. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. It just depends on me or whatever. But I kind of have a tendency to just kind of feel it out as the beat goes. And since I'm playing that part, and I'm gonna unsolo that, I want you to hear that. You see how loose your snare, not your snare, dang it, your kick is? Now, I'm gonna make it, you hear that? Now it's dead center's mono, you know. Now keep in mind, if you actually do adjust the stereo separation on your master, that you are kind of weakening your overall signal. Now I'm gonna bring back everything that, you know, that you had in the beat. We're gonna go for it, just turn it up a little bit more. Now here's a little nice trick or whatever that you might want to learn or use. Adding a little bit of reverb to make certain melodies kind of stick out a little bit more And you know, I'm just pulling this up default. This is like one of my favorite reverbs because it's not as system heavy. You know, it gets straight to the point. I'm not going to use all of it. I'm going to pull it most to the dry, so you know that can, you know, make that part happen or whatever. See, it made that synth full, like have its own little space, you know. and that this stuff just comes with time. I mean, that's basically about it. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and just give it one last playthrough. And we're just gonna go from the top and we're gonna rock out like that. Yeah, I mean, I could have just used what I love using this, which is Pressworks, as far as like your compression. And there's certain things harmonically that it does just much different than Maximus, because Maximus is sonically neutral when it comes to mixing or whatever, which, you know, makes great for a clear, have a clarity, a nice clarity mix. You know, it doesn't color anything or any of that nature, but you know. But anyways, I hope you like this video. If you have any comments, please leave a comment. You know, if you have any more questions, that is. And you know, if you like this video, check out other videos or whatever before you just subscribe or whatnot. And yeah, it is your boy DJ Chrys. Thank you for your time. Have a nice day.